We might have the next big thing in the bantamweight division. In his second fight for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, he has a unique look paired with a confidence that leaks into his fighting style. The undefeated and beautifully haired assassin Payton Talbott will re-enter the UFC octagon. He's taking on Cameron Simon, the training partner of Dricus du Plessis, the middleweight champion of the world, a Finnish specialist who is sure to leave a mark on your mind when you see him compete this weekend. I have high hopes for him in this event, but without further ado, let's take a look at his highlights from his earlier career into the UFC in today's video of career highlights.
Oh, Till's out! It's over! It's over! That's what I'm saying, boy! Oh! He got dropped! It's over! Munoz! Oh my God!
A Finnish specialist, Talbott has 5 knockouts on his professional record, paired with 3 from his career as an amateur. But it was a submission, like his amateur debut, that he finished his first UFC opponent with and served as the introduction to the major organization's fans. Going back to 2018, we'll start in his amateur career fighting for King of the Cage, a predominant North American organization. He took on 5 amateur opponents as he developed serious skills inside the cage. He'd begin his amateur career leaning fully into his grappling. A former touted high school wrestler, it was understandable why his style was predominantly grappling, but it would develop into the striking style we see now. Winning 3 consecutive fights, tossing around opponents, and growing in confidence. He'd be given a bantamweight amateur title opportunity on November 2019 against another undefeated amateur in Alex Gomez. And this fight would be Talbott's striking showcase. Slightly sloppy, allowing himself to be caught by counters, this was one-sided as he landed 2 knockdowns and showcasing spinning strikes and beautiful combinations throughout. He'd land himself a finish in the second round and earn himself his first title as an amateur. He'd defend the belt nearly 2 years later. Finally determining he was ready to turn it pro, he traveled to an event in Sacramento for back-to-back fights, and his second fight against Billy Brand, who has gone undefeated since the encounter, had been an instant classic. The fight went back and forth before Payton Talbott was able to get another finish in the 3rd round. Firepower Promotions in Sacramento would get a boost with Urijah Faber entering into the role with the organization, and he'd help brand the organization Urijah Faber's A1 Combat. He also got the organization to debut on UFC Fight Pass, and for their second event on that platform, the bantamweight Payton Talbott would fight Hector Ferraro for the inaugural bantamweight title. Hector, a Team Alpha Male product, was extremely tough, and the bantamweights would start the fight fast. Talbott would get hit with counters, but it was no different from his previous fights, taking shots to land his own offense, and early Hector looked to have the upper hand, landing a lot again on his counters, but midway through, Talbott would land a straight shot down the middle, sitting Ferraro down. The fight would continue, still extremely close, entering the second round, and Talbott would take a massive right hand post showboating in the opening minutes. With the second round getting into its final seconds and both guys brawling for just over 4 minutes, Talbott would find the finishing combination and earn himself his 3rd finish win and the A1 bantamweight title, in which he would defend in his next fight on A1 Combat 6. Again, taking on the fight on the main event against Anthony Jimenez, he would again land a second round finish with flying knees and punches and lead him 1 year later to again defend the title in the main event of A1 Combat 9, and he would KO Christian Rivas, who was 8-1 at the time, in the 3rd round with strikes. All of these results on a former UFC contender, who is obviously still close with the boss Dana White, would earn himself a Dana White Contender Series opportunity in 2023. This would be again in the bantamweight division against Reyes Cortez, who was 7-2 at the time. Payton Talbott would come in as the slight favorite, and for the first time in his career, he would go to a decision. He would come out on the right end, and this was a great showcase for him to the UFC fans, showing off a great striking style, good takedown defense, and an unorthodox style like trying to flip out of takedown attempts. He had the boss Dana White on his feet, and with the victory and earn himself a contract into the UFC, where he would meet a very tough, very experienced. The fight progressed, and then he would land himself another finish in the 3rd round, this time via submission. So after reeling off 5 straight TKO finishes, he would go back to his amateur roots, landing himself a rear naked choke submission, reminding everyone that he was a high school wrestler and does possess Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills inside the cage. He is next set up to fight Cameron Simon, the training partner of Dricus du Plessis. I should have a betting video for that coming out. It might be a brief one because I am running out of time to make that content. But if you enjoyed this video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.